Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Whether you're tuning in on the radio dial in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM, we welcome you. Or those joining us through our online affiliates around the world, we're glad to have all of you with us as well. We're excited to welcome Chris Greene back to our program today. He's been a part of some amazing projects over the years, including for television as well as in movies. 2016 was a big year for Chris. He was a part of the movies The Birth of a Nation, as well as the hit television show Atlanta. We're going to talk to him not only about that year, but also what it's been like for him already this year to be able to not only be a part of some great projects, but also to be able to continue to build his own brand. One of the things that Chris has been able to do is to not only be able to be a part of projects that he believes in, but also to be able to coach other actors as well and to help them along the way through life of an actor. We'll talk to him about that and the way that he's been able to use social media and being able to grow it, but also how you all can stay connected with him too. Chris, hello to you and welcome back to the program, man.
Cyrus, what's going on, man? Glad to be talking to you again. How you doing?
Yeah, doing really good. Glad to have you back. As I said, 2016 was a really big year for you. We last talked actually in 2015, and there, of course, you also had a great year being a part of some great projects. You had alluded to Birth of a Nation at the time. It had not come out when you and I spoke, but, what has it been like for you, Chris, to kind of reflect on the year that was 2016 and all the great things that came your way that year?
Very fortunate, man. It was good to have the hard work pay off and get a chance to work on these, not only just fantastic but historical projects. Obviously Birth of a Nation set a lot of records, at Sundance, and had made a lot of lists in the trades and stuff. Obviously, Loving is also unprecedented. It going on to get several nominations, including obviously Ruth getting nominated for the Academy Awards, but just being able to have my name on that and, be able to share those, especially with my daughter as she gets older, she can go back and watch those. And I'm hoping that these films are actually shown in, the high schools when they get there. There's certain films that obviously people watch now, but hopefully, those two especially will be part of that, because they are part of American history, not just African American, but American history in general. So I'm very, very fortunate, and of course it's been good as far as opportunities for me as an actor, and also working on my own projects, because now people have seen them, they're more familiar with me. So I actually get my phone calls get to go through now. So
right.
That's good.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. I think the other thing is, as you alluded to, Chris, is that not only, of course, are you part of these amazing projects, but it does open up the doors, especially for the other work that you're doing, because, you and I had talked about Life of an Actor when you were here last time, but that has really been able to grow for you as well. How important has it been for you, or maybe I should say, why has it been important for you, Chris, to not only to be able to build your own brand and to be able to, to build your own resume, but also to help others who are trying to do the same thing that you're doing?
Just paying it forward, man. I'm a big believer in that, Cyrus. Life of an Actor started back in, I think it was 2011. It was funny because there was an instance where somebody had told me there's another person on social media trying to claim it. And I had to go and, contact that person really quick. It's like, hey, I don't mind you spreading the word, but don't take the ownership. You know what I mean? Right. And it was interesting because I had to actually go back and look to see when the first time I actually used that hashtag, which is what it started out as, was a hashtag, and it was back in 2011. And it started out, honestly, as just like a lighthearted thing. I had drove to the time I was already in Florida, and I had to drive down to Miami for an audition for a major film. And, from Orlando to Miami is a 4-hour ride. I drive down there, my audition was literally 2 minutes. And then, I turned around and left and came back because I had some other work to attend to. So, on the way back as I stopped, I had hopped online and put up the hashtag. I made a statement like, it's one of those, what was that? I guess it was American Express commercial or what it was back in the day, where it's $5 coffee, getting food, $8, having an American Express, or having the whatever price list, that whole commercial thing back in the day. I kind of did something similar to that in the sense of, $100 in gas, 8-hour round trip, X amount of time, going there for a 5-minute audition or 2-minute audition, that's the life of an actor. And I hashtag it. And honestly, at that time, I didn't think it was going to be anything. And, of course, I started seeing other actors tweet about it. Next thing I know, it went from just, regional to national to now it's like international. I've had people, hit me up and say, man, I love that idea and that concept, and people really don't understand what it is we go through. So that's when it started developing into, okay, well, let me start putting together some classes, some seminars, reach out to actors and casting directors that I'm comfortable with and close with, and have them come and speak on what it truly is that has you stand out, because it is a lifestyle. People treat this profession like it's this mystical kind of thing, and it really isn't. It's like any other job. You have to train, right. You have to work hard, and you have to climb the ladder. And that requires a certain lifestyle. If you're a doctor, you live a certain lifestyle. If you're a police officer, you live a certain lifestyle. Well, if you're an actor, and you want to be, let me be clear. If you want to be a professional actor, not a celebrity, if you want to be a professional actor, you live a certain lifestyle, and I'm not talking about being in tabloids or nothing. I'm talking, again, the training, the hard work, the long hours, the traveling to promote. I mean, you do wind up becoming a full-fledged individual business, and it requires a lot of sacrifice. So I wanted to kind of educate people on that, not only actors but people outside of it, and then also have them be proud of it. We have the shirts, we have the hats, the hoodies, the wristbands, like memorabilia just to have, but also use that to pay it forward, because I am building to start like a scholarship fund for young actors, because as you know, the schools are not giving out scholarships to creatives. If you want to be an actor and go into a regular college and not a performance arts college, chances are you're not going to get any type of scholarship or any type of grant. And even then, if you get it, it's not help. It's like, a couple $100. It's not helping you out. It's almost like they don't treat it as a serious job, to where, if I was saying I was going to school to be a football player, I'm getting a full ride. If I'm going to school to be a doctor, I may not get a full ride, but I'm getting a hell of a lot more money than an actor would. So it's definitely and a thing that I wanted to be like, okay, listen, at the end of the day, creatives are what shape and influence the trends of the world. I mean, if you think about it, the two businesses that actually do not struggle really in economic hardship are, bars and places like movie theaters or like, Redbox rentals or something, because that's an escape for people. Some people they go to a bar to communicate, drink, unfortunately, and then some people go to a movie to kind of escape the hardships of what they have going on, because those are two things that, again, can take people out of their current reality and put them into another one that they want to be in.
Right. So, Chris, did you know then, as you were kind of going through the life of an actor, that you wanted to not only be in front of the camera, but you've also been able to produce your own content as well? Was that almost a natural progression for you, that along the way, as you were being able to help to educate others about the business, that you also wanted to create content and opportunities for other actors too?
Absolutely. I mean, when I first started, man, years and years ago, we ain't gonna put a date on it. But when I first started, it was you still had access to the internet, but we weren't seeing content like we're seeing over the past, I'd say even, almost decade. You had, online was used primarily through email. That's how you got your content out, was email. If you had the luxury of having a website, but even still, it wasn't like, Twitter wasn't popping, Instagram wasn't going on, Snapchat. You had MySpace, you had Facebook, you maybe had YouTube, at that point in time. Other than that, you really didn't have these other mediums. So as the industry progressed and you started seeing this stuff come out, you can't be one-dimensional. I was always, it's funny, my mentors, when we'd be in acting class, we would have directors come in. And they would say to them, if you want to be a better director, you need to take an acting class. You need to understand how an actor thinks. Well, for me, I just spun that on his head. It's like, okay, cool. If I want to be able to get cast in these projects, or I want to get inside a director's head or a producer's head, then, I need to go sit in on castings. I need to go sit in on a film school where they're talking about directing and writing and all. I need to go, experience this stuff, because not only does it make me a better actor, but it has me, now I can close that gap as far as the communication. And that's one of the biggest things I find is, sometimes you work with an actor's director, who are usually people that started out acting or understand the process of casting or even took an acting class. They had that dialogue that they could communicate with us with. or you'll have like a visual director or a technical director who those are usually the ones struggling a little bit because visually they have this picture, but it's kind of like, okay, I just need to be more mad. And it's like they're not really, you know, if an actor's struggling on trying to understand what's going on, but the director can't really communicate, now you have this, we're trying to guess and find each other in the dark. It's like this Marco Polo game, you know. And so for me, I didn't want to be that. It's like, okay, let me develop my own content. That way, you know, if the well runs dry, I can put myself in my own stuff, but also put other actors on who I know are working, who I know are hustling, who I know are good, but they're just not getting the breaks on the bigger level. Maybe give them a way to put the spotlight on them for a second. So, yeah, that was always the thing. Because, I mean, as much as I love acting, you know, you get to a point, even the greats are doing it, you know, Jack Nicholson, Denzel's, you know, probably going to get to that. You know, you've heard him kind of flirt with it. It's like, you know, you get to a certain age, it's like, all right, I don't want to spend 10, 12 hours on set, you know, acting and doing these emotional, you know, preparations and stuff. Let me direct. You know, they start stepping away from it. So eventually it's going to get to that point.
Right. I'm going to talk more about that, Chris. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Chris Greene back to our program. He is not only known, of course, as an actor, but as we just were talking about, he's been able to create his own content, being able to produce, as well as being able to help others along their own journey in the industry, too. Part of the way you've been able to do that as well, Chris, has been through Detour Entertainment. One of the things that I noticed that you were doing this year, we talked earlier about 2016, but you've been really more this year focused, it seems like, on using social media to be able to drive traffic, not only to what you're doing with Life of an Actor, but also a Detour, including the web series Typecasting. Talk to us about that, because what made me think about that was when you mentioned about, you know, the director trying to tell you, you know, to be more mad or to be more this or that, and that's one of the things we're kind of able to see you do, you know, as the individual who's kind of trying to cast someone for a job. Talk to us about typecasting and how that all came about.
Yeah, so actually, that's a project that I co-created with the homie Roy Williams Jr., who you've had on the show. And Roy and I have known each other for I don't even know how many years now, 8 years or so, something like that. And I was visiting him while I was actually having some meetings out in California and doing some press for the films for Birth and for Loving or whatever. And him and I were just sitting down talking about our casting experience, like our experiences working on set and also auditioning. And it just, a bulb just clicked. We just kind of looked at each other and said, you know what? I got my camera. We don't have anything going on right now. Let's just come up with a little skit and see what happens. And we did. And that's the first episode, obviously, typecasting, called the Urban Casting Call. And it was about, that was based more so on my experience at the time, as far as the layout, to where, you know, I went to audition for a particular casting director. And, you know, it was just not a comfortable situation. I was auditioning for a specific role. I saw it one way. Clearly he saw it another. And he, in so many words, told me to be blacker for the role. And it was, at the time, honestly, Cyrus, it kind of pissed me off, because it's like, you know, that's like one of the most insulting things you can say to someone. That's just like telling a female, I need you to be more, you know, feminine for this role or whatever. And it's just like, okay, as a man, how can I tell a female to do that? You know, I'm a man, I'm not a female. I don't know what it is to be feminine. You know, it's nice. Now, if I'm more specific and I say, okay, I need you to be more vulnerable, okay, that's not insulting, because it's like anybody can be, you know, vulnerable, or now I'm being specific. And, you know, you're being too hard. I need you to be vulnerable. But to say, be more of a woman, that's a slap in the face, you know. So when I was told to, you know, in so many words, to be more black, it was kind of like, all right. At that point, I checked out of the audition. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not doing anything. I really just want to get out of here. So my goal with typecasting was really kind of just to spin all these negative experiences, because people don't really understand, man. It's auditioning is probably the most stressful and annoying and least fun part about being an actor. In my opinion, I mean, I've talked to a lot of actors and they agree, but because you're asking an actor to go in and make best guess. Now, we can go in and make an educated guess, but nowadays so many of these shows are getting so secretive with their material and giving you dummy sides and all this stuff. It's like you're going in there blind. It's almost like asking somebody to sit down and play Russian roulette and be happy about it. It's like I don't know the odds. I don't understand everything. It's already stacked against me going in because I don't know everything. And you know, it doesn't help when I go in there and I have a casting director who's, you know, in a bad mood or very welcoming, and that's not always the case. Don't get it twisted. I mean, they're human beings, so you don't know what kind of day that they've had. Just like an actor could have came in there and put them on a bad mood, but the ideal situation for an actor is to go in and have a good experience with the casting and do your best. But there's times it's not like that because we're trying to prep. We most cases we get the sides, whether we have to tape them or audition for them. We'll get this stuff the day before it's due. So it's like you got to put everything on hold. As a parent, if you have a kid, as a spouse, as an employee, if you have a regular job, it's like you have to stop what you're doing and focus on that for the day to make sure you get right. Otherwise, it's going to be half-assed. So we wanted to kind of spin that and put a little positive twist and kind of let general audiences know this is what an actor goes through when they go in their job interview. It's like these are the kind of things they run into, and they still have to sit there and put on a smile and do this thing. And we've released 2 episodes. I mean, we have 6 done, so I'm starting to, I put them out there a little bit last year just to kind of get a feel. But now I'm kind of re-releasing them, because, we have more traffic coming to the site and we have more people, for me, following my social media pages. So I'm kind of putting them out there, and we're getting a better response because I think it's people through social media have access to actors and behind-the-scenes stuff, so they kind of get a better understanding. So people love the first episode. I have people messaging me. I know Roy's had people commenting on his stuff and quoting him on it. Released the second episode, what's called a character actor. And both of these are obviously found on Detour's website exclusively on there. We release it through Vimeo, but you have to go to the Detour website. But I have an actress, Dina Najjar, who comes up and she plays this actress coming in an audition, and every time she gets a note, she has these little tricks. She puts on, different things, and I'm not going to give it away. Obviously, people haven't seen it, but it's funny because it's like the note she's getting is so simple, but she's complicating it by doing extra. So the thing about the auditioning process with typecasting is not only poking fun at, and spinning casting directors, but it's also the actors too. I didn't want it to be one-sided and casting directors feel like I'm always getting at them, or directors or writers feel like I'm always getting at them. It's like actors come in and do some silly stuff too. So, we wanted to just basically poke fun at it and overall let people know that, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a fun process. We know it's annoying with some of the stuff that goes on, but you just got to take it, kind of spin it and laugh at it, because it's not that serious. I mean, we have a very rewarding, but in comparison to other professions, lax. I love the quote Denzel was saying on his, roundtable that he did earlier in the year when they were talking about, how hard actors have it. He's just like, this is not a difficult profession. You're going in and you're telling a story. What's hard is sending your son to Iraq. And when he said that, I love that he said that, because it's like a lot of actors piss him on and complain, but it's like at the end of the day, you could be sitting behind a desk making minimum wage and pulling your hair out, but you get to travel to this location, tell a story, and then go home to your regular life and just chill for a minute. It's like we are very fortunate to do that.
Exactly. And, you mentioned social media. I mentioned that earlier, too, that's one of the ways you've been able to connect. I mean, is that getting easier for you? And one thing I will bring up, and I don't typically do this, but since it's kind of true in your case, I think it's fair enough to do it. You have now, it seems like, become more comfortable, Chris, in kind of sharing all of what you do, not just professionally, but even spending personal time, like with your daughter, who you mentioned earlier. I mean, how do you kind of walk that line of what you allow people to know and to see, and how has social media kind of played a role in that?
It's interesting. I talked to, I worked with a senior actor who's, been in the game for years. And it's funny because he schooled me on the fact of it's harder for, younger actors, in comparison to him, than back in the day. It was like, paparazzi had to track you down, take pictures, and then you had to open up the Enquirer, and it's like people didn't believe that anyway. Now it's like any person with their cell phone can snap a picture, put it up, and it's just like you become a meme, and like everybody believes it. So, I am not at that point in my career where I have people just running around with cell phones chasing me, but you do have to be careful what you say and what you're doing. And my thing is like, okay, if my image is already out there, I signed up for that being an actor. If you're going to be a performer or creative, your life becomes an open book. And then my daughter's in the industry as well, so it's kind of like, okay, well, I at least want to control the narrative that's going out there. So, you know, I don't mind posting pictures of us doing some stuff. And then also to me, you know, I was told that, you know, sometimes people, your fan base wants to know a little bit about that too. I mean, they want to know everything about you, and obviously you can't give them that. But, you know, they want to see that, hey, he's still a guy like me too. You know, for other dudes out there that may be struggling with their profession, whatever it is, and family time, you know, me showcasing that, hey, this being an actor is a 24/7 gig. You know, I'm also a business owner. You know, that's every day, all day. I'm having to put in work, but I still make the time to spend time with my daughter and go do things with her, or, you know, spend as much time with her as I can and talk to her every day and all that good stuff. Even when I'm traveling, I still, you know, call her, because to me that's very, very, very important. So I think controlling that narrative is important. I'd rather put up a picture myself of us at Disney or something like that than have somebody else take a picture and do it, and, you know, the picture could be perceived the wrong way. You know, one instance that comes to mind was the rap of the game. You know, he obviously is, you know, very well known, and he, you know, this was a while ago, but it always stood out in my mind. He put a picture up of him and his daughter, and, you know, she was giving him a kiss. And he's got, I mean, I think his daughter was maybe 6, 7 or something. She was, you know, really young. And she kisses, you know, she was kissing him on the lips. And then some of the comments that I was seeing, it's just like people are just, you know, I'm like, come on, guys, really? I mean, just disrespectful comments. And, you know, Game responded the way he does. Obviously, I'm not going to get into that because that's some R-rated stuff, obviously. But the point he was making was, you know, this is my daughter. Like, you know, don't disrespect, you know, my family household. You know, I love my daughter. This is how we show affection. I can understand if, you know, his daughter was 17, 18, kissing him on the mouth. It's just like, okay, that's a little weird. But she's like 6 or 7, I think, at the time. And you never hear anything negative about, like, every time he posts a picture, it's just like, it's him and his beautiful little girl, and or it's just a picture of her, and he's like, you could tell he's so proud of her. And for me, that stuck out because that made me respect him even more. I always respected him as an artist, but it was like, okay, yo, this people know him as this hardened dude. You know what I'm saying? It's just like he's a father protecting his child and caring for his child like any other dad. And to me, it was the same thing. It's like, you know, people will comment and say, oh my gosh, that's so cute, and oh, I forgot that you even had a daughter, and blah blah blah. And to me, it's like, I'm glad that that puts a smile on their face, because at the end of the day, that's warming to me, is that you can smile at me and my daughter. Hopefully that influences you to, you know, mom or dad, you know, to spend more time with your kid and go enjoy life with them and have fun with them and stuff like that. So, yeah, I've definitely felt a little bit more comfortable with that. But, again, still being very cautious because, like, you know this, people can twist something on social media in a minute.
Right, exactly. And, you know, and I think it's great that you're able to share that. You know, you know, it's one of those things, I guess it's, you know, it's, everyone's always going to have something to say, right? I mean, so it's like, you know, like you said, I mean, people want to know. Then, of course, you know, there's the other side of that. You know, then people feel like they have the right to tell you, you know, what you should be doing or shouldn't be doing. And I think that's just the nature of the world that we live in. You know, we talked about 2016 and this year. You have some projects that you are working on. I don't know what you can tell us, though, Chris, but, I mean, what about the what's next? I mean, do you find that as you kind of have seen the momentum begin to grow more and more, especially after the year you had last year, does that make you even more excited about what's to come? Not only, of course, in working with other projects, but also in creating your own.
Absolutely. I mean, right now, you know, the goal for me right now is, you know, I'm just stacking up content. I have a writer, a young writer in New York, Pat Streeter, who's been just giving me scripts. I mean, this young brother is very skilled at what he does. He's very passionate, and he's always just writing stuff. And he's like, Chris, we got to do this. And it's funny, he found me through social media because he saw Birth of a Nation, and he reached out. And it's funny because he mentioned I was, you know, kind of hesitant on reaching out to you because I didn't know if he was going to be on a Hollywood tip, who's this clown and blah. And that's one thing about me is I try to keep my circle around me that will never let that happen because I don't believe in it. You know, I'm not one of these guys who, you know, I'm on social media and I don't talk to people if they ever, you know, talk to me or, you know, get away from me. You're not this. It's like you don't know what anybody has to offer. You can learn something from everybody, I believe. I think as long as you approach me in a respectful manner, you know, you're going to get that back. If you want some crazy stuff, then, yeah, I can't deal with you. I got to, you know, you get that block button real quick. But, Pat's been sending me stuff. We've been kind of coming up with ideas. I have another young cat who just graduated film school, Terry, that I'm going to be working with. I'm trying to build me a team of young, hungry cats who want to create this content because, as you can see, it's like there's mediums to get your stuff out there everywhere. I mean, even Facebook is getting into scripted series now. So it's like, obviously money is always going to be a thing. You got to find that one person that believes in you to write the check, but that doesn't mean you can't start preparing for that, that stay ready, get ready. So we're building enough content to where when I reach out to these producers can make it happen. But as far as the actor thing, I'm always on that grind, reaching out to, these actors, actors in the industry trying to reach out to producers and stuff like that. And as far as, obviously I have some irons in the fire. There's a couple of shows that, I can't say anything about that I'm trying to get on to and in consideration for. But then there's always the heavy hitters, shows like Fear the Walking Dead is actually a show that I've really been pining for simply because, the franchise is great, but simply because Coleman Domingo, who's become, kind of like a mentor to me in a sense, whether he knows it or not. But he's always giving me jewels, and he's always, keeping me motivated through his posts. And, I'll text him, and he'll respond back and make sure, to tell me to enjoy life. So it's very appreciative of him. But just to work with Coleman again, I had such a great time working with Coleman, even though it was short-lived. It's like that man right there just brings the best out of you. So that's a show that I'm really getting on. So all you listeners, make sure y'all just tweet Fear the Walking Dead all day and be like, if you don't put Chris on the show, listen, I'm caramel skinned. I could pass as Mexican. They still down there in Mexico. I can get rid of, I work on my Espanol a little bit. But yeah, that's for me. That's on the wish list as far as shows, just to primarily to work with him and the rest of that crew. But as far as stuff, I recently just got booked on a show called Chance. That's going to be out on Hulu, working with Hugh Laurie, who's another Titan. That guy, to watch him work, he's a beast too. I can see why. You see why he's carried house for so many seasons and done so many other things he's done. But I have an opportunity to work with him. And I just got done working with Bondi Curtis Hall, was directing a project starring Tony Braxton, and T.D. Jakes is producing. I was out in Pittsburgh, so I just got done working on that. And I got a few other things that, I'm getting calls about and whatnot. So, we'll see. Obviously, Outcast dropped earlier in the year. Unfortunately, it did not get renewed for another season. But I got mad love from people who did watch the show. I did a few episodes on that, and that was a fun experience working on that and getting to do the prosthetics and all that good stuff. Shooting out there in South Carolina in the woods, which, that didn't bother me, but it was super duper cold. So I will say, that, if you see me in certain scenes and there's a little shiver, that's not acting. That's real. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And just creating the content, man, and continuing to do what I love to do and work with the people that I love to work with. I'm trying to get on my Robert Rodriguez and Judd Apatow and Spike Lee mode, where it's like, they have the same crew and the same team for every film, it seems like. And to me, it's like I'm trying to build that too and just continue to have fun.
Gotcha. And that having fun is so important. Again, everyone, Chris Greene has been our guest. Great conversation with you, Chris. Chris, let our audience know how they can stay connected with you, man, and kind of keep up with the upcoming projects.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, thank you, Cyrus. Make sure everybody, if you guys are listening to this, but you're not following this man, just for the words of wisdom he gives out and all this other stuff, then we're going to have a problem. I have to track you down wherever you at and make you hit the follow button. Cyrus is bringing you guys some great motivational influential people, and everybody make sure you guys follow Cyrus. But for me, I have a Facebook fan page you guys can go hit up. It's usually just posting links to my Twitter and Instagram. I'm not a big fan of Facebook. Sorry, Mark Zuckerberg. Don't get mad at me. Just because it's so much to keep up with. So like every once in a while I'll post something on the fan page. But that's facebook.com/actor Chris Greene. Instagram is Chris Greene, ITS, Chris Greene, Greene. Search me there. I'm getting better with the Instagram. People are telling me I'm slacking on my Instagram game, but I'm not big into like selfies and stuff. So I try to catch pictures and video whenever I can, but people tell me to step that up. They like it, but they're like, man, you need to be posting. I'm like, I'm new to the Instagram. I'm a newbie on that. But Twitter, that's if you want to get at me, Twitter is where it's at, and it's Chris Greene as well, ITSCHRISGREENE, and that's how you can get me. So Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If somebody's on Snapchat, that's too much right now. I'm a little old school. That's way down the line. So that's pretty much it. And of course, I have my website, actorchrisgreene.com, and I post stuff up there too. So yeah, make sure you guys follow, like, subscribe, all that, whatever that good stuff is, and holla at your boy. And I will talk back. I know a lot of people don't do that in the industry, but it's like, I'll especially if you say something funny and make me laugh, I'm definitely going to retweet it and shout you out, because I'm at that point in life where laughing is good. So do that.
Well, look, man, congratulations to you, Chris, man. Great, really enjoyed catching back up with you, man. A lot of great things are going on with you. Definitely want to make sure that they are following what's going on with the Detour Entertainment as well, so they can be able to watch typecasting, to be able to watch that. And then, like you said, make sure you guys are following him on Instagram as well as on Twitter, and also his Facebook page as well. And, Chris, looking forward to our next conversation together, man.
Absolutely, Cyrus. Thank you so much, man. You take care of yourself, and we'll be talking soon. We got to catch up. We got to do lunch next time you make it around, whether you're in the ATL or if I catch you out in Cali, man. We got to link up.
Sounds like a plan. We'll definitely make it happen for sure. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. And if you all came in late, you missed part of the conversation with Chris, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our social media site. So head over to facebook.com/Cyrus Webb or go over to twitter.com/Cyrus Webb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share with your friends from there too. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.